remember...
Remember what?
everything.
Everything?
Yeah, I remember all of it. My memory's back. I remember what happened before I got snatched.
What?
Let me tell you what happened. Like Snake said, Ace is Hongo from the right. The other three are Musashido, Nijisaki, and Kubota. Musashido was the man with the cash. Nijisaki was Hongo's right-hand man. And Kubota developed the actual technical details of the experiments.
How do you know all this?
Come on, man, I told you, I finally got my memory back.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm trying to ask you why you knew all this stuff in the first place, before you forgot it.
Because we don't have the context from one of the other pads where he started telling us what he
You
remembered.
really want to know?
Of course.
Me too.
This is gonna take a while. Hell, it'll probably take me a good 3 days to tell you everything.
Luckily, we have time for that. Oh,
But
wait.
we don't have 3 days.
Just give us the short version, alright?
Short version, huh? Alright, fine. I'll give it a shot. No promises, though. I'm a detective. It's a little awkward to say this about myself, but you could probably consider me a lone wolf type.
You say the man with the cabbage? I think the line you're referring to is the man with the
I
glasses?
hold my own code, because I think doing what's right is more important than doing what you're told. That's why I followed my gut that night. A slim lead brought me to the wharf. It was 9 years ago. The wharf had been cold as fuck, and I could barely see squat. I was investigating a mess of kidnappings, all of them children.
I gotta say, like, I understand wanting to conceal the identity of the children who were kidnapped. Like, that's totally makes sense to me. It doesn't feel like it makes a lot of sense to give this much real estate on the page to them if they're just gonna be mosaic children.
It all had one thing in common. A hospital under the management of Cradle Pharmaceuticals. And my investigation had turned up evidence that Cradle had been involved in the kidnappings.
But if they're missing, wouldn't it help to see them? I mean, it would, but, like... I don't know, definitely a decision was made here that doesn't match up.
After a little sweet talking, I managed to finally get a real lead from someone inside Cradle. My source told me this.
Tonight, a ship is set to take the children to a large passenger liner docked offshore.
So I headed to the wharf. From the shadows, I searched the harbor until I found the ship he was talking about.
Maybe the plan was for the newspaper to, like, release a series of puzzles, and if the readers sent in the correct answers, they would reveal the identities of the children so you could search for them?
There was a bunch of movement here. Men in black suits, many of them carrying large bags. Bags. There was something about the way they moved as they were carried, no doubt about it. There were human beings in those bags.
I have a lot of experience carrying bags filled with human beings.
I moved before I realized it. I came out of hiding with my gun already in my hand. Don't move.
I think this all might be verbatim what he remembered before. We do eventually get to new stuff, but I think this might be
Metal
repeated.
touched the back of my head.
Drop the gun. I could kill you right now. It'd be easy to get away with it, too. Just tie an anchor to your feet. No one would find you for a week. That what you want? The fish here would love a meal.
I kept digging the cold metal thing into my skull. There was nothing I could do. I did what he said and laid my gun on the ground. Then suddenly,
Yeah, week seems like a weird amount of time to call out for that, doesn't it, Demolition? I'm thinking, like, I feel like if that works at all, it should probably take longer than a week, or way less than a week if you just hide him somewhere he's gonna get found.
there was a sharp pain in my neck. A needle, a drug. That was my last thought. My face hit cold concrete. I was out like a light after that.
Then 9 years passed, and I was on this boat. Weird.
I woke up on a hard floor. Damn it. Shit, my head hurts. I did a quick once-over of the room. Where am I? A small, shabby bed, a dirty sink, a toilet with no privacy. I'd seen it countless times as a cop. I'm in a cell, huh? Facing the toilet was a door set into the wall.
It's really uncomfortable for the door to lead directly to the toilet. So if someone opens the door and you're using the toilet, like...
It was still pretty woozy, but I made my way over to it. I pushed and pulled on it, but... it won't open. Not like I expected much else. Would be dumb enough to put me in a cell and leave it unlocked.
And yet you try every
Threw
time.
myself against the door a few times, but it wouldn't budge. I knew it. I gave up and made my way back to the bed, and sat down. I sat there for a very, very long time. Then, I heard a faint voice.
Hey, listen! Hey! Hey,
The
listen!
voice was far away. I couldn't understand what it was saying. But I could hear one. It was pretty high. Probably a little kid. Huh?
It could have been a fairy. You don't know. That's clear. You don't need me to read that, right? I feel like you just can tell by listening to that what's being said.
No, it was several. I hear 5 or
6
6
billion
maybe
of them
more.
children.
Where? Where are they coming from? I pressed my ear to the wall and tried to listen through it. No, that's not it.
What? Go out!
Left. It's coming from under the bed? I hauled on the metal frame and flipped the thing over. And there it was. The bed had hidden an air vent under it. The hole in the wall was covered by a metal grate.
Hey, remember when we were just talking about how dumb you'd have to be to, like, leave and exit for the room that you got locked in? Just saying.
I dropped flat on the floor and peered through the grate. I couldn't see shit, but I knew it in my gut. This was where those voices were coming from. Hold on. Why are there kids here? But then what my inside man told me popped into my head.
Tonight, a ship is set to take the children to a large passenger liner docked offshore.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Am I on that ship?
I mean, it seems a little odd to me that he was, like, literally pursuing children, and then he gets captured by the people who kidnap children, and then he's like, why would there be kids here? It's like, if you didn't expect them to have kids, like, why did you come here? I know you, like, didn't necessarily expect that after getting captured you'd be in the same place as the kids, but, like, that shouldn't be, like, a huge shock, right? Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Young Seven's like a... He's got a nice look going on. He kind of let himself go. But, you know, we all have our bad times.
All I knew was I had to get to those kids. I checked out the metal grate. Could I fit? I stuck my fingers in and grabbed it. And then...
Who does number 2 work for? I mean, we're looking at the toilet. What am I supposed to think?
Yeah! How do you like that, you son of a bitch? I finally got the damn thing off. Sweat was dripping down my face. So I wiped it off and crawled inside. The first bit or so was tight. I had a wriggle on my belly. Wind up eventually, and there was space for me to crawl along on my hands and knees.
Seems really unlikely that this would have worked at all. I mean, considering Seven's relative mass, that he'd be able to get into this air vent at all. What were air vents like on the Titanic?
I went from crawling like a worm in dirt to skittering like a bug. Couldn't say it was much better, but I'd take what I could get.
It's not an important part of the story.
I'd been in the thing long enough to start wondering where it'd take me. A massive sound nearly scared the piss out of me. It was like a heavy metal door had just been slammed shut. Then, there was a voice.
Oh, see, now we have a better idea of what this means.
What? I wasn't sure what it meant, but anything with incinerator is bad news. Then, almost as if that was a cue, I heard a mess of young-sounding voices. A bunch of them were straight up screaming in terror. And all the sounds together made a howl that made the hair on my neck stand straight up. Damn it! What the hell is going on here? I scrambled through the duct as fast as I could. I made a giant racket, but I didn't care at that point. I soon found a metal door on the left side of the duct. The kids were screaming on the other side. I found it. I yanked the handle and threw the door open. I almost ripped the metal off its hinges. What the hell is this place?
An incinerator. I feel like we were over this.
The room had a dome up top, and there had to be about 9 walls, all the same size. Up in the ceiling was an upside-down funnel, almost like a... I looked down. There they were. The kids I'd been searching for.
Huh. Take a look at those kids if you think there might be something interesting going on here. I mean, we already know that some of the characters we know were
They all
here.
gawked up at me, suddenly silent, for the moment, from surprise and fear. Scared of the room or me, I couldn't tell. Not like I can blame them running into a mug like this when they're already scared shitless. I snorted at my own dig at myself and turned to the kids.
I thought I was really clever. Another important part of the
Don't
story.
worry, kids, I'm not your enemy. I'm one of the good guys. All of them stood there, frozen. Well, except one. He was a boy, slightly older than the others, in a private school uniform.
Who the hell are you?
He stepped forward and glared at me suspiciously. I'm a detective. I'm here to rescue you. It looked like they relaxed some the second I got the words out.
How are you gonna help us?
Where's the exit?
There isn't one. The doors we came in through won't open, and the door over there...
He kind of cut himself off. I think he was considering something before he changed his mind.
Anyway, there's no point. We can't all get out of here. If we don't get out of here, we're gonna be burned to death.
Burned to death?
Can't you hear it? That voice said the incinerator's gonna start up soon.
Real shame to get burned to death, I agree.
So...
The voice spoke again.
Incineration will begin in 15 minutes.
They only had 15 minutes. I looked back down at the kids. Looks like a good 20 or 30 feet to the floor. No way I could pull them up. Too big of a distance for any of us to reach. What the hell was I gonna do? But then I got an idea. Wait right there. I'm gonna be right back.
What? Where is he going? Are you just gonna leave us here?
They just got frightened again. I'm not the best at that kind of thing, but I tried to reassure them with a smile. Don't worry, all right? I'll be back, I promise. So just stay calm and wait right there. Got it?
Considering how much difficulty he described having getting through this tunnel, and the fact that he also stated he made some additional noise that someone might have noticed, feel like maybe this isn't like a super solid plan. Cassar says 15 minutes isn't nearly enough time to talk about the
I don't
flat
need a
Earth
map
theory.
to get to
I
Bone
didn't
Town.
wait to hear them respond. There wasn't time. I had to hurry. Well, as fast as I could on his hands and knees. Didn't take me long to get back to my cell. Still no way out of there, but I had a plan. I needed something from the room. When I got it, I dove back into the hole and took off towards the incinerator. Then... Sorry to keep you waiting, guys. I tipped out the doorway and dropped down the rope I brought with me. Back in the cell, I torn the bed sheets into strips and tied them together to make a rope. It was sloppy, but it got the job done.
And using relative time dilation, I managed to do that in like a fraction of a second, so that I was able to get back with enough time for them all to climb up.
All right, just tie that around yourself, okay? I'll pull you up one at a time.
Because just get Lotus to talk about Ice 9. Hours will pass by in real time, but the timers will think that only 5 minutes have passed. It's true, that's some classic Uchikoshi time dilation for sure.
Huh. Wait a sec. Something was off. There were more of you before. Where'd the rest of you go? The boy in the uniform answered.
I let them go on ahead. We opened the number 9 door and they left.
What? You're telling me you opened that door?
That's what I said.
Then what the hell are you doing here?
We couldn't go with them.
Why not?
Look, the only people who can go through the numbered door...
He was in the middle of explaining when...
14 minutes until I take over.
Incineration will begin in 5 minutes.
The wall shook a bit and the voice bouncing around.
Look, that can wait, all right? Just get us out of here.
No. I want to hear your explanation for why you can't just open the door and leave.
Right! I grabbed onto the rope. First one I pulled was a girl with a ponytail. Next was a girl with a red necktie. A boy in a jacket came after. He said he'd climb up on his own. The boy in the uniform was the last up. Like the other kid, he climbed up the rope himself. He looked pretty scrawny, but I guess he was stronger than he looked. He moved fast, but when he was almost to me,
Yeah, a lot of these details are extraneous, and we are on a sinking ship and about to die.
we heard some knocking. Everyone looked at the door. It had a thick, square window set into it. On the other side, an angry face was staring in.
God damn it! What's going on here? Why is the room empty? Where the hell are those fucking kids?
The door opened, and a man stepped in looking half mad with fury. I recognized his face. I saw him many times in photos during my investigation.
Yeah, he went back, stripped the bed, made the rope, went back again, and started explaining in 10 minutes. Now, in fairness, he heard the 18-minute countdown when he was already in the vent, right? And then it took him 3 minutes to get from there to the open door to hear the 15-minute warning, which is when he went back to do all that. So, like, in theory, like, 4 to 5 minutes one way. And then just he's super experienced at shredding up a bed sheet. It says something weird about him. And I don't know, maybe he did that while he was crawling back through the vent. That also seems very reasonable,
The
right?
man's name was Gintaro Hongo, the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals.
It's like hard for me to take him seriously with the stylish hat on. I don't know. It seems weird.
Hongo saw the boy hanging from the rope. Yeah! It was like he was an animal. He lunged for the rope. Hurry!
I know!
The boy in the uniform booked it up the rope.
You son of a bitch! Get back here, you little shit!
Rude.
15 feet. 10. The second I could reach the kid, I grabbed him. I hauled him up and tossed him into the duct behind me.
No! No!
Hongo had lost it. His face didn't even look human. It was like the bastard pulled off his fake face. He was really a terrifying devil or some kind of damn monster.
Now, I feel like it is important to point out that, like, while we have escaped the incinerator in the short term, we have sort of backed ourselves into a corner, as this vent does lead to a prison cell that we were locked into. And the only exit outside of the incinerator room is a door that's locked that we have no way of getting out
I
of.
quickly reeled in the rope, leaving a furious Hongo yelling at me from the floor.
You fucking bastard! You won't get away with this! How dare you compromise this experiment!
Experiment? What experiment?
There's how many kids left, too. I mean, I think the implication is that we got the ones that didn't go through the number 9 door, I think? He did describe the last one as, like, the last kid up, but I don't know if...
Incineration will begin in...
I feel like we should know by this point in the story if he's doing a reasonable job at narrating if someone is still down there.
1 minute.
Hey, old man! What the hell are you doing? Hurry up!
At this point, jump down and mob him. No, but like, incineration,
The
though.
boy in the uniform was trying to get my attention. I may have thrown a salute in the raging asshole's face before I closed the door behind me. I was going back in the cell, so we went down the other direction instead.
Did he say there was another direction?
After about 30 feet, we came across another duct on the left. This one was heading down. Everybody nodded and took turns sliding down it.
Magically, there was an extra vent that helped us not die.
The duct emptied us out into a narrow hallway. There was a door on either side. The one on the left was a normal double door. But the one on the right was familiar. It had black and yellow stripes, and a device next to it on the wall. The plate on it read, Incinerator. Incinerator?
Yeah, that's where we were.
It was the girl with the red tie who answered me. We were inside an incinerator?
Yeah, Hongo might still be there. It looks like it's been shut off, though.
We should not go in there.
Wait, what? If he's still in there,
Yeah, that's not good.
that meant we better. We gotta get out of here. Go to the other door, hurry! The kids started running, and I was close on their heels. On the other side of the door was a large spiral staircase.
Using voice actors. Hey, listen, Demolition, you know, these games are expensive. There's already like 9 people in the main cast. And this is like a remaster, right? Like, they're gonna spend infinite money on it.
Run! Didn't need to tell them twice. Up, and up. Feet pounded the steps. Our arms pumping fast.
If Ditto's still here, I would ask him if this is better than the deliberate footsteps from earlier.
Round. The devil was on the tail. The stairway kept going. We passed a couple of landings when the boy in the uniform suddenly spoke.
Something's up. Akane's not catching up to us.
Akane?
My kid's sister. The girl with the red necktie.
Akane. I didn't remember seeing that name in the list of missing kids.
He just says, I have to admit, I wish Seven's story was its own game. He's become a much more compelling character. I mean, it's true, because of his amnesia, you don't get much about him other than, like, basic personality up till this point where you suddenly get the huge info dump about his past. It does seem like it'd be an interesting installment to the series. It'd probably best be served as, like, the first game in the trilogy, but, definitely better than Zero Time Dilemma, at least in theory.
Hey! Akane!
He kept his hands around his mouth and yelled.
Maybe we outran her.
The boy in the uniform skidded to a stop. I stopped too. And so did the other 2 kids. When did we do that?
Well, we passed a couple big rooms on the way here. Maybe she took a rest in one of them?
No, that's impossible.
Sorry, Grandpa. You keep going. I gotta go look for her downstairs.
He turned to go.
Hey, kid, wait! God damn it, I said wait!
I don't think the kid even heard me.
Fuck!
I spun around to the boy in the jacket, and the girl with the ponytail.
I'm going after him. You two keep going, all right?
The girl nodded and ran up the stairs. The boy.
I'm going with you.
I didn't have time to argue. I just nodded and took off down the stairs. I could hear him following. We ran all the way to the bottom floor, calling for her. Akane was nowhere to be found.
God damn it, where the hell did she go?
I could tell the kid was frustrated. And then suddenly,
Help me! Somebody help me!
we heard a girl's voice.
Akane!
The boy in the uniform threw open the door and leapt into the hallway by the incinerator. We rushed in after him. I couldn't for the life of me believe what we were seeing. That bastard Hongo had Akane by the arm and was forcing her into the incinerator.
Come on, goddammit, move!
No, I don't want to! Let me go, please! Let go of me!
She planted her feet squarely on the floor and was struggling to get away. But Hongo was bigger and stronger. She wasn't gonna win.
Also, he's like the devil. We've made that comparison like 12 times.
Akane!
My brother roared with anger and charged toward Hongo.
Help me!
Ah! You're too late, idiot!
What a mature adult.
Hongo lifted Akane bodily into the air and threw her, still fighting him, into the incinerator. Before we could even blink, Hongo had leapt through the door after her.
You stop trying to make the incinerator
We saw
happen.
him land inside. And then, the door slammed shut. We ran to the door. We did everything we could think of to get the thing open. But
Ah! Fuck! It's no use! The goddamn thing won't move an inch!
he started slamming his fists against the door. He was close to shattering his knuckles with how hard he pounded on it.
Akane! Akane! Are you
There's
okay?
a lot of editorial comments here that like make for like a more compelling prose, but like definitely don't help. This is supposed to be the short version of this story because the ship is sinking. Let me just remind you real quick.
Her voice was muffled, but all of us could hear the sheer terror in it.
What should I do? I think I'm trapped in here!
Where's Hongo?
He went out the other door!
What?
Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes.
Did the Titanic even have one of these? Honestly.
Please evacuate the incinerator immediately. Repeat. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged.
It just seems like this is like a Adam West like Batman death trap. This isn't like a real thing you would ever have.
You fucking kidding me? It's the same damn thing.
Are you there?
Yeah, we're here. Just hang on, all right? We're gonna figure out a way to save you.
His words would have seemed like a sick joke to her if she'd been able to see how white and bloodless his face was right then.
Incineration will begin in 17 minutes.
Please! Please help me!
I don't think the real Titanic had a library with a secret sliding door. And like CRT monitors and stuff, Cassar? No, I'm pretty sure that's all canon, I think. I think that's all correct. But this is a bridge too far. I don't think this is a real thing. I guess this shouldn't still be hot since it went off just a couple minutes ago. Probably. I would assume it would still be quite hot. I don't know how like destructive it would be to stand in that heat. I mean, certainly it would dissipate, but like it would stay hot for a while.
I'm really scared! I don't want to die, please! I don't want to die! I don't want to die!
It's gonna be all right. I'll figure something out. I promise. I promise, okay? You hear me? I promise.
You know, if this was like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, you could just be like, I know, I'll set up something in the future that will let me get out of here. I just have to remember to do it later when I have access to a time machine.
It was torture listening to her sobbing on the other side of the door.
Also, hi Arcadius, welcome to the stream. How's it going?
Her brother was nearly crying himself. He could only stand there, fists clenched so tight his knuckles were white.
what happened then?
Come on, man. Put yourself in my shoes. It doesn't end good. You think I want to remember that?
Then...
Yeah. Shit. If I'd known it was gonna be like this, I almost wish I hadn't remembered.
Hey, are you sure?
What a normal question.
Huh?
Look, I don't want to ask this either, but there's something I don't get. So if you could just tell me, did that girl, Akane...
Yeah, I'm sure. There wasn't anything we could do. After a while, the countdown ended, and we heard something... burning.
Was it interrupting burning finger?
The fire stopped, but we still didn't move. Me and the jacket kid were frozen. The boy in the uniform collapsed as if he couldn't hold himself up anymore. A few minutes passed. The door opened. The boy in the uniform tripped over his own feet running in. We followed, too numb to speak. The air in the incinerator was hot. Every breath made my lungs feel like they were on fire. It was like standing on hot asphalt. The air was wavering, and in the middle of the room, there it lay. The kid's
Angel
legs were shaking
appreciates-
so bad, I don't know how he managed to walk. I couldn't see his face, but his body somehow looked empty.
Andrew appreciates my G Gundam reference and says G Gundam is best Gundam. It's certainly the one I most remember. I haven't made terribly much effort to watch some after the first few I had seen. But I saw someone this week with the whole Elon Musk Twitter sale thing go through. He made like some really outlandish tweets. And I saw someone say like, my girlfriend pointed out that like all his tweets together sound like the villain speech of like a Gundam villain. And it's like, oh, you know what? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Finally, he reached it. He fell to his knees as his legs gave out on him. And then...
Milk started leaking out of his eyes for some reason. Oh, you saw that too, Demolition? Yeah, the screen cap of the villain, it very much fits the tone of the tweets. It's very astute.
Can I ask you one more thing?
What's that?
The girl, Akane. What was her last name?
What does it matter to you?
Just tell me, okay? Please?
Kurashiki.
Oh, that's concerning. What's that supposed to mean?
Her name was Akane Kurashiki. You were there that day, weren't you? The tall kid in the jacket. That was you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. You are correct, Detective. Don't misunderstand me. I told you before how Zero threatened me. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't say anything about what happened 9 years ago.
So you're saying you're not working for Zero, right?
Of course not.
Clover, what about you?
Oh yeah, I've been working for Zero the whole time.
You really think I'm working with Zero? I told you before, you idiot. I was in Nevada, in Building Q. I did hear that a detective rescued the kids on the boat, but...
Maybe Akane had a clone or twin sister also named Akane. You mean someone who had like a rare disease that affected half of their body and she like harvested all the organs from her twin sister Akane? Or maybe like they like both Akane and Akane have like supernatural strength and are essentially identical in nearly every way except for a heart condition? Like something like that? Like one of those situations?
I didn't know it was you.
Well, I guess I believe you. Alright, let me ask you another question. Santa's real name is Aoi Kurashiki. He's Akane's brother.
Oh. Now that's some new information, isn't it?
You know that?
No, I didn't. Did you?
Well, yes. I know Aoi Kurashiki was her brother. But I didn't know he was Santa. At least not from the beginning. 9 years ago, he was in the middle of puberty. His voice is entirely different now. I'm ashamed to say that even my exceptional hearing wasn't able to make that connection. As such, I had no reason to think Santa was Aoi.
When did you figure it out?
Clover told me that Santa might have been one of the subjects of the initial experiment. It was only a short while ago, while we were leaving the library. When she told me that, I had a feeling.
The feeling was that I had to pee, but then I made a realization.
Santa is Aoi, Akane Kurashiki, June's brother? There's still a lot we don't know. I mean, like, a lot.
Hey, you realized you all died from drowning like a while ago, right?
But there is one thing I think we can say we know.
What's that?
The body we found in the shower room. It had to be Nijisaki, dressed up to look like Snake.
What?
Come on, man, what kind of detective are you? You didn't figure that out already?
Hey, go easy on me, man. I just got my memory back, alright? Cut me some slack.
You know, it's interesting. This is another instance of a detective who, like, forgot how to be a police officer, but he's not as wildly destructive as the last time we encountered that in an Uchikoshi game, which is technically in the future.
Well, if he is, the 3 murders make sense then, don't they?
Ah, now we're getting around to that common thing that no one in chat guessed, at least not actually expressed. Mostly people just thought they're alcoholics in that photo.
Yeah, that's right. Murder. Kubota blew himself up, but that was murder too. So why did these murders take place?
If Junpei is correct, and the body in the shower room was Nijisaki's, that means all of the people who were murdered were involved with the creation of the Nonary project. Kubota,
Except
the
for one
person
of
who
them.
conducted the actual experiments. Nijisaki, Hongo's assistant. Musashido, the man who financed the project.
You mean this was all just revenge? Santa is Zero. He's getting revenge for the death of his sister. That's why he killed them.
No, I don't think Santa actually murdered anyone. If I'm right, then it's not hard to figure out who the next victim's gonna be, is it? I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you.
Yes.
Evolution says, alright, switch Date from Somnium files in 7. How does each do in the other's game? Like, legitimately 7 would probably be a much better actual detective. And because Date wouldn't have an AI ball companion for the Nonary game, he would, like, definitely explode. I don't know what would cause him to break a rule, but, like, he would definitely explode. For sure.
Yep.
Right.
The next target will be Gentaro Hongo.
He'd probably do it, like, just making some rude joke. Just, like, accidentally blow himself up, but it would, like, definitely happen.
Person who planned the Nonary project.
In other words, Ace.
What?
Oh yeah, we've been talking for like 2 hours and the ship was supposed to sink after like 60 minutes.
What the hell's going on here?
It must be 6 a.m. Our time is up.
Yeah, we really spent way too much time on that short story,
Shit.
huh?
Come on, we need to get out of here.
How?
I'm betting this sucker opens the exit. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, F's in chat, please. New material added to the file screen. Keycard 0. Keycard with a 0 written on it. 0, 0. Zero's just screwing with us, isn't he? Yeah, don't worry about it. No, I want the other direction. Alright, let's swipe the card. Swipe or no swiping. Alright, mentally prepare yourselves to quickly open this door. Now we could go back to the library. No, see, in this game, that's definitely a punishment. Alright, let's go! You found it!
Huh. I think the shaking stopped.
It would seem so, but we are yet to be out of danger.
You're right. Let's hurry.
This exit needs the Uranus card, too.
He said it.
Hey, Junpei.
Yeah, I know. All right, it's open. Let's go.
Footsteps.
Okay, Neptune Key. Let's see if you work.
3 seconds of footsteps. Microdosing.
Yes! I think it unlocked. It says incinerator, so this is the incinerator.
This is the first time I've seen it from this side, but yeah, I think so.
Then there ought to be a lever near the door.
Yeah, right here.
Pull that and the door should open.
Got it.
Hey, cool, now we can go into the room that'll kill us.
Let's go. What the hell is going on? What's wrong? Are you okay?
Jumpy, you came to get me.
Hi, I'm glad you're not dead. But we're all gonna die because the ship is sinking, and we really goofed this one up.
Of course I did. I made a promise.
Time management is not a strong suit of the people chosen for the Nonary games. I think at this point we can safely conclude that.
I'm so glad you're here. So glad.
Hey, what happened to you?
I'm fine. I just fainted. I wasn't feeling very good.
This feels like a trap. Sometimes when a girl says she's fine, she does not mean she's fine. I feel like this might be one of those. So that's what they have in common. Yeah, we finally got there, Demolition. Sorry to spoil it, but we're pretty close to the end now. Pretty close.
I'm feeling a lot better now, though.
Are you sure?
Yes. I just need to rest a little longer. I'm sure I'll be fine.
Skeptical.
You shouldn't worry about me.
Santa.
Hey, where is it? Where's the gun? You hide it somewhere?
I don't have it. I got sucker punched, and they took the gun.
What? Who took it?
What? Isn't that obvious?
I took the gun.
Seems like maybe we should have, like, paid attention to the rest of the room. There were, like, a bunch of us, so, like, one of us could have done
Just
it.
what the hell do you think you're doing, Ace? Or maybe I ought to say Gentaro Hongo, CEO of Cradle Pharmaceuticals?
Ooh, do you think we're gonna go through the whole Columbo reveal again?
You have me at a disadvantage, and I don't like that.
I like how blunt that
You
is.
know me, but I don't know you. Do you have any idea how much I've suffered? Can you even begin to understand my pain?
The pain of prosopagnosia, right?
Oh snap, he said the thing.
Another irritating insect.
Oh, someone finally noticed. Yeah, I mean, there is something distracting in this room that might keep them from noticing Ace holding a gun, I guess. Yeah. I've been doing that for about half the playthrough and no one said anything. At a certain point, I just wanted to see if I could get away with doing it the entire game.
And how do you know that?
Highlighting the plot. I'm highlighting what's important, which may or may not be the same thing.
Good question.
No matter. If you don't want to answer, it makes no difference to me. This is a waste of time anyway. It's time for me to go. First is 1. Give me your hand. 8. And with this... 9.
The 9th man. Kubota's bracelet.
Demolition says, this is why Date actually be good here. Nah, hold on, though. Because you're assuming that he has access to his powers. But I don't ever remember an instance where Date activated his own supernatural ability. He always needed Aiba to do it. And that technology doesn't exist in this continuity.
I believe I've won this game. I've had quite a time playing with you. I must thank Zero, I suppose.
I believe I've won this game, he says, clearly cheating and holding someone physically hostage. Yeah, I mean, I guess. It feels like a little bit against the spirit of the game.
Wait, what?
Castlog says there must have been porn somewhere on the Titanic. Look, I'm not disputing that. That's almost definitely true. At the very least, we know factually that there was a car on the Titanic with like a smoldery handprint on it, for sure. But like the power only activates when like someone else does it. Like he's prompted other people to do it, but like someone has to like produce it for him.
Ace doesn't know who Zero is. What the hell are you planning, Santa?
At any rate, this game ends now. I will escape, and the rest of you will have a slightly less pleasant ending.
Much less pleasant.
I suggest you enjoy your final moments. Goodbye. Wait! What? Why isn't it opening? One more time. Now open!
You didn't say the secret word. You didn't say the secret word.
What is this? That digital root should be 9! It has to be 9! Then why? Why isn't it opening? Now!
Yeah, see, I don't feel like we need Date. I feel like we're doing pretty good.
Ugh.
my squeedly spooch. Neko coming in with the really profound questions. Do you think they make porn mags in Braille for blind perverts? I hope so, but at the same time, I feel like it might use like a different Braille than what's standard, maybe, perhaps, possibly. If you understand my meaning.
Oh, that was close.
Don't mention it. Just one punch ain't enough for this piece of shit.
It would be if you were One Punch Man.
After what he did 9 years ago, I ought to rip him to pieces. But if a suspect can't talk, they ain't much good. Once he's locked up in a cell, we're gonna have a little chat.
9 years ago? Then you must be...
Yeah, you finally figured it out, dumbass.
Ace, you killed Kubota, Nijisaki, and Musashido, didn't you?
Wait, Nijisaki?
Oh, right. You don't know yet. All right. We'll just go through them in order then.
That's such like a funny response to that. Like, it shouldn't be, but that's really funny. He's like, you killed 3 people. And then, like, names them. He's like, the third one too? It's like, so, like, you're definitely fine just taking credit for the first. That doesn't bother you at all. Okay, that's all right. As long as we're on the same page, sure.
Let's start off with Kubota. You talked to Kubota and managed to convince him to go into door 5 alone. You killed him without making it look like you killed him.
Okay, now I just want to point out again that we've already passed the point in time where we were concerned that the ship was, like, finally sinking to the point that all of us would die if we didn't escape, and we're still taking that. Like, this conversation could happen later. Like, we've neutralized Ace. We can completely knock him unconscious for later, and then figure out how to get out of here as quickly as possible. This does not need to happen now. Picture an egg. We're past picturing an egg. We're trying to describe the mouthfeel of an egg by just keeping the whole yolk in our mouth. That's what we're doing right now.
The way I figure it, you had 4 motives. 1. In the nonary game, the number 9 is dangerous. Whoever had the 9 bracelet could join whatever team they wanted. Adding 9 to any number doesn't change the digital route, which means that number 9 could do whatever they wanted. You wanted to remove that threat as soon as possible. 2. You wanted the number 9 bracelet for yourself, so that you could make use of its power. In fact, you did use it in the murder of Nijisaki. 3. Even if his number hadn't been 9, Kubota was a problem. He knew your past. He knew what had happened 9 years before. You needed to silence him before he told anyone. 4. But last, and perhaps the most disturbing, you used Kubota as a test. You wanted to know how serious this nonary game was. Was it truly life or death, or simply a harmless prank? You convinced him to break the rules so you could see what would happen. That was why you killed Kubota. But he was only the first. Next was Nijisaki. While everyone was off looking for the missing parts for the Reds, you ran into Nijisaki near the big hospital room. However, because of your prosopagnosia, you didn't realize he was Nijisaki, chiefly because, when you met him, he was dressed like Snake. That was why you thought Nijisaki was Snake.
No, that's not... That was Nijisaki? Why? How did...
I'll get to that. Anyway, you thought he was Snake. Snake was one of the kids in your experiment 9 years ago.
You know, there's one thing that this game really likes to handwave, and I don't think a lot of people give credit to, is I feel like once we've reached this point in the scenario, like, anytime someone starts talking with authority about, like, information that not everyone has access to, like, don't you feel like you'd start suspecting that person was Zero?
You remembered him because he was the blind kid, but his presence made you think. Snake was one of my subjects 9 years ago. But if that's true, why isn't he saying anything? Is he keeping quiet because he can't see? Or perhaps he's working with Zero to get revenge on me. Whatever the reason, anyone who knows my past is a threat. Before he tries anything, I need to get rid of him. That was when you decided you had to kill him. The murder weapon was Kubota's bracelet. You just waved it over the red. Verified your own number, and then grabbed Nijisaki's arm and forced it over the scanner panel. Then, when the door opened, you kicked him in.
And turned him into jam.
9 seconds later, the door closed. And then 81 seconds passed.
As the arc observes Nijisaki, ni equals 2 in Japanese. Most likely not a coincidence.
And poor Nijisaki was dead.
And you mean to say Snake is still alive?
Sorry to disappoint you, but I'm as good as new.
Man, everyone's doing a super terrible job of everyone's just failed their perception checks in this room. Has anyone actually successfully figured out what's going on?
Thank you for killing the wrong man, but I can't say I like knowing that you wanted me dead. Although, to be honest, even if you hadn't tried to kill me, I would still hate you very...
Well, I wouldn't blame you.
Angel asks, why would Nijisaki not tell him his identity? Because he was drugged. The other version goes into a little more detail and establishes that, he was not of sound mind to, try to converse with Ace.
Last but not least, let's talk about Musashido's death.
No, you're right. He wouldn't recognize Snake. It still just seems funny, though. He does have a valid reason, but it does just seem as the scene goes on, people just keep being no, obvious stuff, really?
Clover and I were investigating the chart room. You came over to talk to me. Do you remember what you said?
Oh, a pocket watch.
A pocket watch.
Take a look at it?
I handed it to you, and you left the room. You had been in charge of the Nonary project. Of course you would have known the solution to every puzzle, which would mean that you also knew how to get out of the wheelhouse. All you had to do was place the watch in the indentation on the door to unlock it. With the door open, you could enter the captain's quarters. Musashido was there. Conveniently placed next to him was an axe that practically begged you to kill him with it. You picked up that axe and buried the blade deep in the other man's chest. One blow was all it took, and then you returned to the chart room as if nothing had happened.
There was something I wanted to speak with you about, Junpei. Could you come with me for a moment?
I had no reason to say no, so I followed you to the wheelhouse. When we stepped inside, remember how you slipped your hand into my vest?
Gross.
You pulled out a piece of paper, the one I used to cheat during the vote, but that wasn't really what you were after. Your true purpose had been to slip the watch into my pocket. It wasn't a very good plan. Had way too many holes, and someone saying the wrong thing could have brought it all down around you. You must have been desperate, but what made you willing to risk it all to do it? Ace, Musashido's murder is the only one I don't understand. You obviously did it, but why?
To drive down property values, you pesky kid and your meddling dog.
Because of this.
Oh my god.
What's with the paper?
Just read it.
Let's see. Number 1.
Again, I feel like we could be having this conversation once we'd escaped. I don't
There
know.
are 2 ways you might survive this ordeal. The first is to win the Nonary game. The second is for you to confess your sins of 9 years past. I have prepared a camera in the captain's quarters. The images captured by that camera will be streamed through a satellite and distributed across the world. Simply look into the camera and repent.
That would be the very first Twitch stream, I'm pretty sure. I think if that happened, that would be the first historical Twitch stream. Would be Ace confessing that he made the Nonary game and did all those kidnappings and whatnot.
Once you have confessed everything, I will release you from this ship. To make your confession more credible, I have left you a witness in the captain's quarters. Perhaps he will confess with you. The decision is yours. Do as you please. 0.
When I awoke in that room on D-Deck,
It'd still be better than some high-profile streamers. Dang, shots fired,
I
Demolition.
found that in my pocket. That was why I chose door 1 when we voted. If I went through that door, I knew I could get to the captain's quarters. As you said, I knew how to enter the wheelhouse. My plan was to find the pocket watch before anyone else.
Just, I want to be very clear. At this point, we have all drowned, right? This is all like a hallucination in our collective, like mass hysteria, basically.
If I could, then my alibi would be set. At least, that was the plan. Unfortunately for me, you got to it first. That sleight of hand was the best I could manage on short notice.
You meant to kill him from the beginning then? Musashido, I mean.
Well, yeah, I don't want to confess my
I
murder.
only knew Musashido was the witness after I reached the captain's quarters. I asked him, and he answered. He seemed groggy. Perhaps he had only just awoken from sedation. I suppose Nijisaki was in much the same state. He seemed confused and disoriented when I encountered him.
Man, Ace doesn't give a crap that those guys are dead.
But yes, you are correct. I intended to kill him from the beginning, even though I didn't know who he was.
What a cool guy.
I proceeded to the captain's quarters in order to remove this so-called witness.
Ace, you figured it out, haven't you? You were being manipulated.
Yes, so it would seem. I was little more than a puppet, in many ways. Everywhere I went, everything was already prepared. The Reds in the large hospital room were dismantled. Nijisaki was dressed like Snake. There was an axe in the captain's quarters. Musashido was delirious from the anesthetic, so he couldn't fight back. Nijisaki as well. In retrospect, I can't understand how I could have fallen into such a simple trap.
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing, bro.
Yes. Yes. This was a trap. It was Zero's trap. And I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. I did everything he wanted me to do.
Yeah. By manipulating you, Zero was able to kill 3 people and keep the blood off his own hands.
Yeah, you could just, like, kill 3 people, or you could have, like, one super bad guy kill all those people for you and demonstrate his character. And then, like, also you didn't commit a murder. I mean, like, to be fair, he, like, much like Denzel Washington's character in The Equalizer, Zero gave this man an opportunity to not be a violent murderer. Like, hey, you know what? Like, you just confess. That's all you gotta do. Just also happened to create a bunch of situations where, like, he could be a murderer, and he just chose violence, so...
All of this was revenge for what happened 9 years ago.
That's why it says, Ace manipulated Kabuto into dying, and that's murder, but Zero manipulated Ace into doing that, and Zero's innocent? I don't know that... I think your mileage may vary as to whether Zero is innocent. I mean, Zero is still Zero.
That's why this nonary game happened. Am I right, Santa?
Huh? What the hell are you talking about? I don't know any...
Ain't no point trying to play dumb anymore, Santa. Actually, I guess I should call you Aoi Kurashiki, huh?
So we're definitely drowning presently.
My memory came back to me, kid. You're Aoi Kurashiki. No doubt. Never thought I'd be back in this room talking to you. But hey, I guess this was all part of your plan, right? After all, the person who planned the nonary game this time around was Zero. And Zero's you.
Looks like you really do have your memories back, huh? Well, I guess there's no point in hiding it then, huh? Yeah, you got me. I'm Aoi Kurashiki. I was one of the kids in the nonary game 9 years ago. I made it out. So did Snake over there. But there's one thing... No, I guess there's 2 things you got wrong. Number 1, I ain't Zero.
What?
Wait, what?
Sure, I was helping Zero out, but I'm really more of an assistant, like a secretary.
Really interesting way of putting that.
But an assistant's only an assistant. I didn't come up with all this. All I did was follow Zero's orders.
Then, if you're not Zero, who is?
Calm down there, Junpei. Didn't I say 2 things? You made one more mistake. Junpei, you just said all of this was revenge for what happened 9 years ago. That's why this nonary game happened. But that's not it. Revenge isn't the only purpose. There's another reason you guys were playing the nonary game. To save someone.
Save someone?
Right. You were brought here to help my sister. To save Akane.
What the hell are you talking about? Akane Kurashiki died 9 years ago in this room. I was there. I saw... What?
Nandate!
What the hell? Where is she? Where's Akane Kurashiki? Ugh! Oh, my head! My head, it feels like it's gonna pop.
You idiots, you really believed Akane Kurashiki existed? She was a hallucination the whole time. You've all been drugged, idiots.
7! What the hell is going on?
I don't know. I just... Oh! I swear to God, my head feels like it's about to explode!
What was the nonary project? I'm sure you know already, but I'll tell you one more time. It was a project designed to test a particular phenomenon. And what was that phenomenon? for two organisms to communicate with one another in the absence of physical contact. The morphogenetic field theory. Could human beings use these invisible fields to exchange information? That was what this experiment was conducted to determine. There were two separate locations. One was the Gigantic, and the other was a building in Nevada called Building Q. The 9 children trapped in Building Q were faced with numerous puzzles, copies of identical ones on the Gigantic. They were told to send their answers into the morphic field set and transmit them to their brothers and sisters on the Gigantic. The transmitters were put in Building Q, and the receivers were put on the Gigantic. Each sibling pair was supposed to be split up, but there was a mistake.
This is also pretty stupid.
Akane was a transmitter. She should have been in Building Q. For some reason, she was placed on the Gigantic with the receivers, like me.
I mean, it seems like it's obviously wrong for a same pair of siblings to be in the same location, because the point is that one from each family is a transmitter and one's a receiver. I don't know how you would possibly make this mistake after going to all the trouble of, like, finding these kids and setting up this needlessly elaborate plan.
Perhaps she was mistaken for someone who was supposed to be in Group A. Whatever the case, Akane ended up on the Gigantic. I think I've told you enough. You get it, don't you? I'm pretty sure you know where this is going, Junpei.
Where what is going?
Don't play dumb. You know things you shouldn't. Things you couldn't. How did you know Ace had prosopagnosia? How did you know why Ace wanted to kill Kubota and how Nijisaki was killed? Were you surprised when you found out Ace was Hongo? And what about the coffin Snake was trapped in? How the hell did you open it?
Well, that's...
Someone's asking the real questions. Okay, now here's the point in the game where I need to point out once again, and I've stated it a couple times at least, that originally this game was released on the Nintendo DS, and as a result it had 2 screens. Something interesting about the original version of 999 that doesn't translate super well to the Nonary Games remaster, which is the biggest drawback of it, is that it doesn't have 2 screens. Now, of course, we've experienced some puzzles where the transition wasn't completely smooth, and it made some things a little more difficult to do. But the big reveal, the thing that this game does that it's perhaps most famous for, is the reveal that one of the screens represents Junpei's experience, and the other represents Akane's experience. And that's consistent throughout the entire game. One is more observational. It's more of the novelty prose description language. And that's because it's Akane witnessing Junpei's experience. He knew because I knew. Junpei was receiving information that I sent to him through the morphic field set. It's simple, really. How do I know the alternate futures, then? Imagine a river that splits in 2. Everyone please picture an egg, it's going to be important. The river splits in 2 like an upside-down Y. The river flows from the top to the bottom, from a single stream into 2 branches. It only flows in one direction. It can never flow backward. Information is the same way. It moves from the past to the future, but it never flows backwards. That's why people at the river source in the past will never know about those downstream in the future. But the people downstream will never know about one another either. Information only flows along the path of the river. But I am different. I can manipulate the morphic field set to pluck knowledge from the future. I know what happens on either fork of the river, even though the people on either fork know nothing about one another. Now, who am I? I am I, the 9th letter of the alphabet. But I am also 0. No, that's not true. I'm not really 0. Not yet. Perhaps you could say I'm less than 0. 0 is my future. In 9 years, I will be 0. Where did she go? June, no. Akane? Where did you go? Mine's Clover. Ah, crap.
Freeze.
Santa's got the gun. Oh, Miss Toasty, welcome to the stream. Guess he picked it up when we weren't watching. Man, it sure seems like we should be paying more attention to this gun, huh? Looks like he's turned the tables on Ace, though. Wonder how he likes having a gun to his head. Sure isn't about to take that gun off him for a minute, is he? Ace isn't putting up any kind of fight. I mean, I don't think I would either, but he just looks drained. Guess he's going for the door, huh? Doesn't need to verify to go through that door, but...
What's your plan, Santa? What are you doing?
You can't get through any numbered doors with just 2 people. What is he thinking?
I tell you, I'm Santa Claus. It's time for me to go make a wish come true.
That's it? That's all he's gonna give us? What does it even mean? Oh, they're out.
Sure.
And now the gate's shut. Looks like the rest of us are stuck in here. We're all looking at me. At least Seven's headache is gone. He seems to be alright. Well, I guess there's no harm in trying. Let's see if this door still opens.
Well, it looks like this door isn't opening anytime soon.
You mean we're trapped?
So it would seem.
What the hell is Santa trying to do?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, what?
Have you considered where we are? There can really only be one thing Santa would do now.
No. No, you can't be serious.
Oh, but he is. Gotta do something. Maybe we can still get out through door 9. There's the red. Yeah, alright. We can do this. I just gotta... Oh, it's not gonna work. There's no way. The 5 of us can't open this door. 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 equals 26. Then you add plus 2 and 6 and you get 8. Is there any combination that'll work?
Can I borrow your pen and notebook?
Sure, why not? I don't think I'm gonna be needing them. Ever again. Certainly looks purposeful. Looks like she's writing equations. A lot of them. Huh? Oh man, she doesn't look very happy. Don't need to be ripping pages out like that.
What the hell are you doing,
I'm gonna need that
Give
ever
me
again.
that.
Alright, at least 7 got it away from her. Maybe now I can get a look at what she's writing. Let's see.
What? And there's no other way?
2 snake plus 4 clover plus Junpei 5 plus 7 equals 18. Lotus. Looks like she'd figured it out, though. Man, this is just too cruel. Even though she's the one who's always talking about sacrificing
It's
people.
okay.
Lotus.
Come on, you know we can't do that.
Don't give me that. I'm sure you'd love to get rid of me.
God damn it, you idiot!
They love each other now. Where'd that come from? Looks like she expected that about as much as I did.
If you're not... Look, it'd be bad, alright?
Her copy sure doesn't have much confidence.
Yeah, if there weren't assholes like you around, I'd be out of a job.
Did he just call her a criminal?
Uh-huh.
We have to save them. I mean her. Yeah, every one of them. All of them. 2 of them.
Look, I'm just not leaving you behind, alright? End of story.
7.
He's right. I'm not leaving you either.
Me too.
You didn't honestly think I'd abandon you, did you?
You're all idiots.
Act as tough as you want, Lotus. We can all see you're about to cry.
That being said, however, I doubt we would be able to open the door anyway, even if we were to leave Lotus behind.
We did see someone test this pretty thoroughly.
Huh? Why?
I trust you remember what happened to Ace? I couldn't, see exactly what happened, but I was able to guess what he was attempting to do earlier, at the Red.
Oh, yeah.
No! What is this? Why? The digital route should be 9! It has to be 9! Then why? Why isn't it opening?
Just to see, why don't we give it a shot?
Give it a shot.
Yes, that is what I said.
But we don't have the gun. How would we give it a shot? Two plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. Digital root, 9.
You were right.
It ain't opening.
But it did open 9 years ago. The digital route was 9 then, I'm sure of it.
You think maybe they changed the settings?
Perhaps.
Crap. We can't get through the door, we can't get out. Walls are way too high. There's no way we'd be able to get to the hole 7 popped out of 9 years ago. All we can do is stand here and stare at the door with a 9 on. I guess this is it. This is the end. Check something. Am I covering that? Lost my cursor. Boop. Now you can see it. Akane Vision! Aw, Miss Toasty, thank you so much for the bits. God, all the alerts are being obnoxious today. I want to... There it is. Hooray, thank you so much. Have one of these. I was watching. I had watched everything that was reflected in his eyes. Remember, though, that a reflection of an angel is still an angel. I was listening. Every sound that vibrated in his eardrums, I heard. Smell, taste, touch. I know what he did when he was alone in the first-class bathroom. Everything. I knew. I knew everything about him. A troubling amount about him. What he was thinking, what he was feeling, what he was sensing. All of his feelings and worries and fears became mine. My mind, my consciousness was inside of him. Through the morphic field set, we were resonant, and we were as one. I was him, and at the same time, I was an observer. It started with a tremendous noise like a clap of thunder. It was approximately 9 hours ago. A bomb had gone off on the ship we were on. That was when my resonance with him began. My resonant event melted into him, and we became one. Inside of Junpei. I feel like you're phrasing it this way on purpose. Somehow I found myself in Junpei's mind 9 years in the future. But I didn't lose myself. I was living in 2 realities at once. One was the present and the other was the future. Perhaps you can think of it as 2 movies showing on the same screen at the same time. Eventually it becomes difficult to separate them and determine which movie is which. However, if I concentrated, I was able to focus on one or the other. That was why I was able to grasp what was happening in front of me.
Come on, over here!
That was my brother Aoi. He was yelling. I followed him. Around me were 7 other children. They all looked like they were about my age. We ran down a long, straight hallway and burst into a large hospital room. Someone was talking about all ice for a really long time. 2 of the boys got in a fist fight. The girl watching them began to cry. I want to go home, she cried. I want to go home. Another girl slapped the crying girl and glared down at her. She has absolutely no chill. What's her problem? It has been 2 hours since the Nonary game began. We were starting to fall apart. Just when all hope seemed to be lost, Light started talking. He was blind. 9 years later, we would call him Snake.
Hello? Everyone? Could you come over here for a moment?
He was older than most of us, and his voice had authority and dignity. The fights died down, and we gathered around
I have a
him.
little sister. She is very important to me. Right now, she is over in Building Q, and is desperately trying to send information over to me. Her name is Clover, and today is her 9th birthday.
Well, it struck me as weird that Clover is just Clover. It's not a code name. It just happens to match the number 4. As he spoke, he pulled something from his pocket. In his hand were 9 4-leaf clovers, a super normal and casual thing for a person to carry around without knowing that he was going to be part of a Nonary game where he might want to distribute clovers to all players equally.
I was going to give these to her as a birthday present. I was outside picking them when I was abducted. I'm sure I've already told you, but I am blind. For a man who can't see, collecting 9 of a very specific plant is... well, it is difficult. But my sister means a great deal to me. And I hope that these would show her how much I cared for her. Since it's her 9th birthday, I thought 9 4-leaf clovers would be appropriate. Every one of you has a brother or a sister in Building Q with Clover. For their sake, we have to survive. We have to get off this ship. Do you understand? If we're going to do that, there are 3 things you have to remember. We need trust and love, and we have to have faith in one another. If we can take all 3 of those to heart, then I promise that good luck will come our way. Did you know that the leaves on the four-leaf clover mean faith, trust, love, and luck? Those words are leaf words.
Leaf words.
So if you believe what I've told you, and you understand, then I want you each to have one of these. They're a promise between friends.
He gave a clover to each of us. I took one too. Eventually he was left with only a single four-leaf clover. He had one last thing to say.
Never forget, so long as you have that, we will always be connected. Do you understand?
When he finished, the tension of only a few minutes before was gone. We were calm. After that, we ran around the ship for a while longer and opened several numbered doors until we finally found one with a 9 on it. In fact, there were 2 doors with 9 on them, and we found them in the chapel. We split into 2 groups and walked through the doors. Before long, we all found ourselves in a room with a ceiling that looked like an upside-down funnel. For some reason, this room had another number 9 door. This time, there was only one. But if there was only one door, that meant only 5 people could escape.
What are we gonna do? There aren't any other doors.
We began to panic. Then, as if things hadn't gotten bad enough already...
Warning. Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Automatic incineration will take place in 18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately.
This is all very Omega virus. Just less computer virus and more fire in this instance.
Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged.
What? What's happening? What did that thing say? That didn't sound good.
My brother Aoi swallowed hard and answered.
This room is gonna burn.
Burn!
The plaque on the door says incinerator, and that voice said that the incineration is about to start. And incinerate means to burn.
Uh-oh. Incinerate means to burn. That's not good, because we're a little flammable.
No! Help me!
Abject terror filled the room as everyone began to scream and cry. Every pair of eyes were filled with despair. Then, high up on the wall, a door opened, and a man appeared. He was a huge, frightening mountain of a man, as large as a bear. 9 years later, we would call him
Don't
7.
worry, kids. I'm not your enemy. I'm one of the good guys. I'm a detective. I'm here to rescue you.
The rest happened just like 7 said it did. The 4 of us who stayed behind were saved by 7. We crawled through the vent away from the incinerator and slid down into the hall. Through that secret entrance he didn't mention earlier in his story. Came out the other side of the door numbered 9. On the wall opposite the door was a set of double doors. We went through those and began to run up the spiral stairs. It really seems like a design flaw in the whole nonary game thing. As we ran, I led the way. Behind me were Nona, my brother Aoi, Snake, and 7. The other children, the ones who'd gone through the number 9 door, before us were up ahead. I could hear them cheering each other on. We ran and ran and ran. We leapt across as many stairs as we could and kept running. The stairs spiraled upward like a tornado. Eventually, I pulled ahead of the rest. Perhaps Nona had slowed them down. I didn't want to lose them, so I slowed down as well. I didn't stop, but I glanced over my shoulder from time to time to see if they'd caught up. It was then that I realized.
Where is it? Did I drop Jumpy's present?
I knew I'd had it with me when we'd passed through the vent. Then, had I dropped it as we slid out? I had to go back. I had to. But I knew I couldn't tell the others. They would stop me. I was sure of that. I didn't stop to think. I simply moved. I ran to the central hall, the room that connected all the other areas of the ship. I hid in the shadows, and moments later I felt a rush of wind as they ran past me, up the staircase. I waited until they were out of sight, then ran, moved as quietly as I could, down and down and down. Finally, I reached the bottom deck. I ran into the hallway and looked around frantically. It was just where I thought it would be, sitting under the opening of the vent. I ran over and snatched it from the floor, but as I ran back towards the stairs and freedom... The door to the incinerator had opened and a man stepped out. It was Hongo. Gentaro Hongo. 9 years later, we would call him Ace.
How wonderful to see you decided to come back.
The smile made my blood run cold. It was mechanical, like someone simply pulled up the corners of his mouth.
We must continue the experiment.
I shook my head, eyes wide. Slowly, I began to walk backwards. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. Spun around and broke into a run. Felt Hongo's hand close over my left wrist.
I said, come with me.
There's an edge of insanity to his voice now. I pulled as hard as I could.
Stop! Let go of me! Let go!
Shook my body and flailed my arms, trying desperately to get Hongo to let go of me. I'm still only a child. There's no match for a man like
Stop
Hongo.
struggling, goddammit! Do as I tell you!
He heaved on my arm, trying to pull me into the incinerator. I screamed.
Somebody help me!
Then suddenly, the door to the stairs flew open, and my brother Aoi burst through it. Behind him came Seven and Snake.
Akane!
Cried my name again as he leapt toward Hongo.
You came back!
But then,
You're too late, idiot!
Hongo threw his full weight against my arm, pulling us both into the incinerator. The force of it threw me to the floor. I scrambled to my feet and looked toward the open number 9 door. Hongo stood between it and me. Behind him, I could see my brother, his fists clenched. Those fists never reached Hongo. The cold, heartless screech of metal on metal, the door slammed shut. Hongo glanced at me mechanically, his face registering that there was an object there, but not anything he would consider a human being. Then he turned away and walked to the red that sat next to the door. He reached into his pocket and removed 2 bracelets. He waved them both over the scanner panel. 2 asterisks appeared on the red. He checked the screen, then tossed the bracelets carelessly onto the floor. What was he doing? What is the point? He made no effort to explain himself, of course. He said nothing at all and walked past me as though I were nothing more than a rock by the roadside. A few moments later, the other 2 doors slid shut as well. Faintly, I could hear someone pounding on the door behind me. I turned around and ran toward the door with the 9.
Akane! Akane! Are you okay?
I hear a voice from the other side of the door. A worried, frightened voice. My throat was already raw, but I screamed as loud as I could. My voice echoed lonely around the empty room.
What should I do? I think I'm trapped in here!
Where's Hongo?
He went out the other door!
What?
And it started again.
Warning. Emergency incineration command has been acknowledged. Incineration will begin in
Junpei Vision!
18 minutes. Please evacuate the incinerator immediately.
Holy crap, man. I knew what it was gonna say, but that is just really creepy.
I knew it!
It's starting.
Santa started the incinerator.
Fuck! Man, I never thought I'd hear that damn voice again after 9 years.
What the hell? What the hell? What in God's name are you talking about?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that you weren't around for all the exposition.
It's 9 years this and 9 years that, and when it's not 9 years something, then you're talking about some sort of fucking experiments. You aren't making any sense.
Hey, do you think that we have time to explain it to her? Because I think based on the time dilation that Uchikoshi has demonstrated for plot critical backstory, I think we actually have time for this.
I'm sorry, Lotus, but we really don't have time to explain it right now.
Oh, sure. Now we don't have time for it, huh?
I promise. I'll tell you everything once we get out of here.
But
Incineration will begin in 17 minutes.
Yeah, we definitely have
You know
time.
what
I don't know
that
what
means,
I don't know what
right?
Junpei's talking about.
Incinerate means burn!
what kind of idiot do you think I am? I know what incinerate means.
I remember watching someone do a playthrough of this game and they got really mad about the fact that more than one person says incinerate means burn. Like, yeah. No, I know.
Well, god damn it. Okay, fine.
Lotus, do you know who Stanley Milgram was?
I won't ask anything else. Talk about whatever you want. But you have to do something for me. 7, figure this out.
What? Why me?
Just shut up and stop this thing.
How the hell?
I hadn't considered
There
that.
has to be some sort of emergency shut-off button.
There isn't anything like that.
How the hell do you know?
Because I looked for it 9 years ago.
Notice isn't happy about that. Can't really blame her. Wait, the floor, it's moving! It's a one-man band kit or something. What else can I say about it but... Akane vision.
What is that?
What else could I say? Floor opened and a machine rose up out of it. Looked like a computer? At least it kinda did. There was a monitor, a keyboard, and a cross-shaped device of some kind. Something about the machine scared me, but I forced myself to walk up to it. I was terrified. Tears poured down my face. I wiped them off, even as more took their place, and I forced myself forward. Finally, I reached it. I looked at the screen. It was blank. All I saw was my own frightened face staring back at me from the glass, drenched in tears. All I can see on the screen is a reflection of my own stupid face. I'm looking kind of freaked out. I was sweating like crazy, but seeing it kind of drives it home. Okay, Junpei, just calm down, alright? Everything's gonna be okay. Ah, man, I wish that thing would just shut up.
Incineration will begin in 15 minutes.
Alright, back to this thing. It's only showing up now. It's gotta be important. But what am I supposed to do with it?
Hey, move!
Ah, we're all tense, lady, but that doesn't mean you get to shove people around.
There's nothing on the screen, though. Oh, this is bad. This is really bad. If there's nothing on here, how are we supposed to do anything with it?
Sure, I'll just push buttons. I'm sure that'll... Oh. Well, at least it's on now. What's on the screen, though?
What is this?
What's up?
It looks like some sort of puzzle.
It's got a bunch of numbers and letters scattered across a 5x5 grid. Numbers range from 1 to 8.
Do you think that if we solve this puzzle...
The incinerator will stop? Yeah. Well, we can hope, right?
Alright, puzzle. How do you work? Man, that voice again.
Incineration will begin in 13 minutes.
13 minutes. Can we really do this? My heart feels like it's gonna pop. My heart was pounding like it was about to explode. I stared at the puzzle on the screen. I was sure I had to solve it somehow, but I had no idea how. The connection to Jumpy had been gone for a while. His mind was gone. I couldn't get any more information from him. I felt the seconds tick by as I stared at the screen, completely lost. My cheeks felt hot as tears poured over them. Then I heard a voice.
What are you doing?
It was muffled. I turned around. Pressed against the window in the entry door was a face, a frightening evil face. It was Hongo. How long had he been watching me?
Don't know what to do.
He was yelling, but his voice was still muffled.
Really? But I suppose I might as well tell you. Just solve the puzzle on that machine.
I feel like that much was obvious even to like a 9-year-old girl. His laughter was muffled by the door, but it still tore at my heart like the claws of a vicious monster. I bit my lip and glared at Hongo, struggling to hold back hot tears.
Terrible person! I hate you!
Oh my! How could you call a gentleman such as myself a terrible person? I'm quite fair. I don't use tricks or play dirty.
But I do like a lot of murders and kidnappings and other crimes.
See?
Is that a crime?
I've even left you a way out.
A way out?
We were supposed to seek a way out, so that's pretty helpful.
Don't you hear me? All you have to do is solve that puzzle. Do that, and you can stop the incinerator.
What's the point of stopping it? You'll only capture me and make me do this all again. I'm not going to listen to you. If you're just going to throw me back in here, I might as well just die now.
My goodness, haven't you listened to anything I've said? I told you, I'm a fair man.
Yeah, it's really easy to take this man at face value considering our current circumstances, huh? We should just take his word on that, I think.
If you solve the puzzle, the verification function of the red will in turn activate. If this experiment is to deliver valid results, there must be a chance of success. If you succeed, you will escape.
The verification function of the red?
I remembered. Before Hongo left the room, he scanned 2 bracelets.
Ah, so you do remember. Right now there are 2 numbers in the red. The first is 1, and the second is 3. Say, Akane, what's your number?
I looked down at my left hand. The face on my bracelet showed a 5. +3 + 5 = 9! I ran to the door with the 9 on it. Grabbed the red and put my hand against the scanner, as though I wasn't paying attention.
You really aren't one for listening, are you?
Hear Hongo's muffled voice from across the
I
room.
already told you, didn't I? Once you solve the puzzle, the verification function of the red will activate. In other words, if you haven't solved the puzzle, you can't enter your number. What kind of fool are you?
Like a small girl who's being threatened with death? That kind of fool, I guess?
Why are you doing this?
You could never understand. You don't know what it's like to spend every day surrounded by monkeys.
Gosh, without context, that's genuinely an insane thing to hear this man say.
Now start the experiment.
I can't! I don't know how!
Of course you don't. Isn't that the point? You understand, don't you?
I feel like if I understood the point, we wouldn't be having this conversation still.
Access the morphogenetic field and find the solution.
I can't!
Just change the universal constant of gravity, Akane. Dang.
Then you'll die. You'll burn alive. It's gonna be quite hot in there in a few minutes.
This guy calls himself a gentleman.
I imagine it'll be very painful.
I'm not gonna send him a Christmas card this year. I've decided. His horrible laugh echoed across the room, and even after his face disappeared from the window, I could hear it.
Incineration will begin in 10 minutes.
Crying, great gulping sobs broken by hiccups that shook my body. I was terrified. I could feel my fear pressing down on me like a tremendous weight. Somehow I forced my shaking legs to carry me back to the device. I stared at the monitor.
I just can't. There's no way. I can't figure this out.
What was I gonna do? I didn't know. I didn't know! I didn't even know where to start. Fear scattered my thoughts, and all I could think of was how I was going to die. My palms were sweating, knees weak, arms were heavy, and my blood was boiling in my veins. It was hot. So hot. I couldn't breathe. I felt dizzy. My heart roared in my chest, as if it would pound itself to pieces. I reached into my pocket. I wrapped my hand around the thing I'd come back to get, the doll jump he had given me. At least I had that. I held it tight with both hands and prayed.
Help me! Jumpy! Help me! Help me! Help me! Jumpy! 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 Please! Help me! Jumpy!
It's a good effect. I like that.
Akane?
Jumpy vision.
Akane?
Who the hell is Akane?
Right, you're like super far behind.
Shut up! Just shut the hell up!
Seven and Lotus don't understand. You all don't understand. I think Clover and Snake have an idea, though. Clover's looking at me. I think Snake may have figured it out. No, it doesn't matter. They're in my way! Where'd she go? Maybe over here?
Akane! Akane! Can you hear me? Akane! Say something!
Crap. Did something break our connection? I swear I just heard her.
Akane! Answer me! Akane!
Jumpy?
I spun around. I heard a voice. His voice. I looked around. He wasn't in the room, of course, but I'd heard it so clearly. Like he was right there. I screamed as loud as I could.
Akane!
In the original, this was alternating between the two screens and was like a little less jarring. That's her, she's there. Then that means...
Akane! Akane!
Honey, are you an incinerator right now?
Yes, I am! How did you know?
Couldn't believe that he knew that. Now I understand what Santa meant.
There's only one way to help her. You were brought here to help my sister. To save Akane.
I think I get it now.
Incineration will begin in 7 minutes.
Really just terrible at time management.
Jumpy, we don't have time!
As quickly as I could, I told him I had to solve the puzzle in order to stop the incinerator.
Got it!
And I do. I get everything now. This will explain everything. At last, I finally understand what all of this means. I know why the nonary game was held today. I know why we were kidnapped and brought here. It was all for this moment. All of this was planned out to lead to this one moment. Oh my god. This is insane. I can't believe it, but there's only one possible answer. June is... Zero is... Akane Kurashiki? She recreated the history of the future that she had a glimpse of 9 years ago. She tried to save herself that way 9 years ago. No, she's trying to save herself right now? That means that there's only one thing for me to do. Even if this is all some insane plan, I will save her. I will save Akane Kurashiki. I must save her no matter what.
Incineration will begin in...
It's actually not clear to me why this part isn't voiced. Like, we didn't lose audio. Like, we're still getting the background music.
6 minutes.
Voice reminded me of how much time I had left.
Yeah, I know. Just hang on, all right? I promise I'll get you out of there. I'm not gonna let you die. I promise. So don't worry, all right? Just give me a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
My voice shook as I answered. It was hot in the room. Felt like my heart was on fire. 6 minutes or not, my heart burned with my feelings for him. Alright, time to make the donuts, Junpei. Snake talking to them about something? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Get out of my way.
Hey, what are you...
Just trust me, okay?
Sorry, Lotus, I didn't mean to snap, but there's a lot more at stake here than your pride. I'll apologize later, alright? Let's have a look at this thing. Got numbers all over this grid. The panels are out of order. Just needed to switch these out? Staring at it isn't gonna accomplish anything. I'll just have to try it.
Think of what I did all those times before. I'm gonna do this on my own, with my own mind. I'm gonna solve this problem.
Take a way out. So one thing that's worth noting is that in the original, you actually just solved a big honkin' Sudoku. And in order to solve it, you had to turn the Nintendo DS upside down. Because this puzzle, or the Sudoku puzzle, was displayed upside down on the other screen, and then on the top screen you would see, like, I think you looked at Akane's face trying to solve the puzzle, as if you were trying to transmit what you were doing to her. I haven't actually done this version of the puzzle before, but it is pretty clear that it wants me to spell password. So... How do I switch them? Okay. So we put... Yeah, alright. That's like way easier than the Sudoku. The Sudoku is fine. It takes a little while, but I don't know why that needed to change. Am I supposed to know what the password is? I know that there was like a number 1 with screws on it. Castle Arc says, I think when 999 came out, Sudoku wasn't even a thing 9 years before, so Akane wouldn't have known how to solve it. That's true. Yeah, I suppose we could try entering password as password. It just feels like solving the password would do it. Is it the number 9 several times? It's weird that we have like a number pad out of sorts. Is it my prince? I think that's right. Yeah. Is it 8 letters? Is it the one password to rule them all? Is that it? Oh, I really thought that was it. I think we're in a situation where I was supposed to pay attention to something on the other screen, that I didn't. Is it just the number 9 several times? No. Password? I'm inputting a password now, then? Are there any hints? What am I supposed to put here? I kind of forgot that this has changed. The screen appeared after I solved the last puzzle. Maybe it was in that thing I can't see? Yeah, but I can't... Hey, but I can't see it, though? Is it the password from Snake's coffin? You know, we could try that. I do have it written here. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1. I don't think that's it, is it? No. Is it Cordelia? The answer was password. After it was an extra space. Oh, I see. Is it supposed to be password 9? That's not... I mean, I already tried many 9s. What would the 9 square be if not 9? It's the nonary game. Is this supposed to hint to the thing that happens after this? I solved it by making the hint squares all 9. So the hidden number should be 9 as well. So is the password literally just 9? Did I not try that? I thought I tried that. I guess I tried too many 9s. 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8.
Yes, that's it.
I mean, it would just be helpful if, like, just like the other puzzle, if I could, like, actually look at the hint at the same time. It's like slightly misleading to have like a massive thing when the password isn't. I feel like the input should just be like a single digit. Yeah, the password was just 9. I feel like the context didn't make that clear. Like, I get it. Like, I get it. It's the nonary game. It's all about 9s. It's just, like, the input made it seem like it wanted, like, a big thing, and the previous answer was password, and it was, like, the right number of characters, and then that didn't work, and then I was kind of confused. But also, like, yeah, I'm used to the Sudoku, to be honest with you. Also, hi, Cotillion.
Akane, did you get it?
Yes, I did! I solved it! I mean, really, you solved it for me, but I copied everything you did! Now I just have to press enter!
Even the fact that you failed like 12 times in order.
Then what the hell are you waiting for? Push it!
Ah, push it.
Okay, I will!
Yeah, the Sudoku, like, definitely feels like it fits more. I mean, like, it's, you know, it's sort of about, like, logical deduction and math and numbers up to 9. Like, it always felt like it was thematically appropriate. I get the password 9 thing. I feel like the input method could be clearer if it wants a password of, like, a single digit. I mean, I literally tried putting in 9, but I put in several 9s because I felt like I had to fill the field. Whatever. Okay, I hit the enter key.
Emergency shutdown command has been confirmed. Incineration system has been disabled.
Jumpy! It worked! It worked! The incinerator shut down! It worked!
Tears rolled down my face as I cried out to him, but they were a very different sort of tears. A wonderful feeling of accomplishment and relief flooded my body. At the same time, what strength I'd had left disappeared and I collapsed onto the floor. For a while, I just lay there laughing and crying, enjoying being alive. Every time I thought about him, I thought my heart would burst. Yeah, just remember that. Do me a favor and remember that she said that. Can't quite believe I did that, but I'm so glad. I feel like my heart's on fire. Nope, don't have time to be thinking about that. Need to tell Akane.
Sorry, but things are kind of busy over here. I'm gonna have to hang up now, okay?
Oh, of course, that's fine!
I wiped the tears from my eyes and nodded vigorously, even though he couldn't see me. Then I looked over at the corner of the floor. There were the 2 bracelets Hongo left behind.
Now.
Well, Seven and Lotus didn't look particularly happy with me. Not a very nice look to give someone who just saved your lives, guy.
Are you...
Okay?
Shut it.
Right, okay. Maybe they have a reason to be pissed off. Do they? I feel like they could be concerned, but never mind. Nothing holding me back now. Here goes.
Incineration will begin.
Oh, he didn't hit enter on his?
90 seconds.
I think the Sudoku was timed. I think it was, but I think it gave you, like, a ton of time. And, like, it wasn't, like, a super hard Sudoku, because, like, I'm not good at them, and I never had trouble with it.
It doesn't sound like it's stopping.
Whoops.
What the shit? Why isn't it stopping?
No, the point was to save Akane. I never said that you were gonna get out of this alive. I didn't hit the key hard enough. Just hit it again. And again. And again. Alright, that's not working, and the alarm's still going off. What's going on? I have all the right numbers in the right boxes. Yet, some of this dialogue is, like, clearly still indicating the Sudoku puzzle, which is awkward. And this thing's stopping.
Will begin in 60 seconds.
Wait, of course! That's what the numbers showed up after the puzzle meant. 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8. Or in other words, Snake plus Clover plus Junpei plus 7 plus Lotus. Then, door 9? No. That's it! That number on the door isn't a 9. It's not even a number, sort of.
It is hidden, but an exit can be found. Seek a way out. Seek a door that...
Oh, crap. Of course. And we just have to put the right number into the red and...
Incineration will begin in 30 seconds.
Run, guys! Get to the door! Run!
Oh, crap, oh, crap, oh, crap, oh, crap. Man, I sure hope they can trust me on this one, or we're all gonna die. No time to explain, just go.
Verify your numbers on the red.
Verify?
Who?
What combination?
Everyone!
All of us! We all need to verify!
Why?
You really think this is a good time to ask questions? Just do it!
Hurry, 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 hurry.
10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
Oh my gosh.
3, 2. Central gate has been opened. Incineration system has been disabled.
Good thing that automatically stops the incinerator and doesn't just open the door, because, like, we probably didn't have enough time not to get burned to death. No time to be happy. Time to
We've
go!
only got 9 seconds before the door closes. Go, go, go!
Come on, guys, move it! We're all through. Move it, Junpei. Just in time. There goes the door. Don't calm down yet. You're not done. Still gotta find the dead. Pants. More pants. Additional pants.
Shit. Looks like we made it, huh?
Yeah, that guy sure can laugh when he wants to. Looks like Clover and Lotus are totally out of energy. Snake is shaking his head warily. I just want to take a nap, but...
Akane! Can you hear me? Akane!
I want to tell her we made it. I want to tell her how good I feel. But nothing. Is it you think Hongo had specifically the bracelets that would have made like 4 combined in his pocket so that he was like ready for this very specific circumstance? The door opened. Standing in front of it was my brother.
Oi!
I cried his name even though my voice was almost gone from screaming and left in his arms.
Oh, oi!
You know, it's kind of weird because nobody seems to remember this happening.
Akane!
Buried my face in his chest and cried again. Cried and cried and cried. I measured distinct units of crying, finished them, and then started new crying. The steady thump of his heart in my ear made me feel like I was home. Its beat was almost like a lullaby. I wrapped my arms around him as far as they would go and held him as tight as I could. Just to be there felt like a miracle. I hadn't felt the warmth of another human body in what seemed like an eternity. I just wanted to stay there in his arms forever. But I couldn't. The moment I'd passed through the door, my bracelets had begun the countdown to death. I leapt away from him and looked around. The door had already closed. Spotted the dead, only a short distance away. Took me only a moment to get to and scan all the bracelets. I left the ones Hongo had dropped on the scanner panel. That was it. Took a deep breath and looked around again. A huge detective who we'd call 7 in 9 years and Snake the Blind Boy were looking at me. They seemed to have been utterly stunned by my sudden appearance. Their eyes were wide and their mouths hung
Let's
open.
get out of here. If we don't book it, we might run into Hongo.
Aoi was right. It was time we got moving. The mention of Hongo seemed to jar 7 and Snake out of their surprise, and they nodded. We took off, running up the spiral staircase to freedom. Time for more running! I feel like Uchikoshi wrote this specifically because he felt like there needed to be more footsteps. If they can get us out of here, no wonder we're running so hard. My heart's beating so hard I could barely hear. Can't wait to breathe real air again. Huh? 7 talking?
Hey, Junpei, can I ask you something?
What's up?
That door, the one with the 9 on it. Why'd it open?
Yeah, all 5 of us verified our numbers on the red. 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 is 26. That makes our digital route 8.
Maybe just this once we weren't looking for a digital route, which is a super confusing way to make a puzzle, isn't it?
Shouldn't have opened.
That's not like you, Lotus. I thought you would have figured it out already.
Huh? Why?
Because you were the person who taught me about the idea of bases.
Bases?
Bases, you said?
Yeah. What are the 2 numbers in base 2?
0 and 1.
How about base 10?
That goes from 0 to 9, right?
And how about base 16?
0 through F. After 9, it starts at A and goes from there. B, C, D, etc.
You're right. In other words, A in base 16 is 10 in base 10. B is 11, C is 12, D is 13, and so on.
So, what about it?
You don't get it? What if we keep going with that pattern? What if you go way past base 16 all the way to base 27?
Base 27?
Yeah.
Well, the numerical digits are the same. So, I guess you'd add alphabetical digits. E is 14, F is 15, G is 16.
Yeah, I hope Ditto finds the VOD so he can enjoy this. It's gonna keep going.
H is 17, I is 18, J is 19.
K is 20, L is 21, M is 22.
I feel less bad about always having to manually count these out so that I don't lose track of where I am.
N is 23, O is 24, P is 25.
Yeah, and? What comes after that?
Nothing. The alphabet ends abruptly.
Oh.
Q.
Lowercase q. We were given some deeply misleading instructions from the beginning, because we weren't meant to seek a door with 9 on it. In fact, it's not all that difficult to find 2 doors with 9s on them, but they sure don't get you out of this nonary game. In order to get out of this nonary game, you need to find a door with a lowercase q on it, because in base 27, you get the correct digits.
26!
And what does that mean?
That wasn't a 9 on the door.
It was a Q! A fucking lowercase Q!
Yep, that's pretty much it. I guess to put it another way, you could say that it was a 9 in base 10, but a Q in base 27.
That's a really unhelpful way of looking at it. Time for more running! God, my thighs are killing me. I swear any moment now I'm gonna tear a muscle. I feel like every single cell of my body is dying for air. Every breath I take is a chore now. I feel like my lungs are gonna burst. Be a short rest? Nope, can't stop, won't stop. Come on, legs, there can't be many more of these steps left. Let's run. Run! Like a bullet down a rifled barrel, even though we're going up. Like a tornado cutting through a sea of clouds. I like the running emotes, Castle Hard. What's the difference? I don't think I know what the original Japanese says about that. Finally. More pants. Pants under pants. Pants on top of pants under pants. More pants. Oh, I could barely breathe. No, Junpei, no time to rest. Everybody mentally prepare for me to open this door. Pull yourself together,
right.
You're almost there.
I'm gonna open it.
Do it. Oh. 9 is written Q and is pronounced the same way as the letter Q. Yeah, I guess that makes a little more sense. It's pretty equal. It's similarly obtuse, though.
Yeah.
Yes, we're finally here.
Please do.
I mean, I see the logic there. I might actually almost prefer the base 27 garbage, even though it's not very good. Sure, you look like a big, heavy door, but you're the only thing standing between me and my freedom. More important than that, you're the only thing standing between me and a con. You're gonna open, and you're gonna open now! You found it! I felt a hand on my shoulder. It was Aoi's. He gave me a small, reassuring squeeze. I was so happy I felt like I could melt. My heart was at peace, and not only because my brother and I were back together again. Thanks to the huge detective, all 9 of us who'd been kidnapped were finally able to escape from the gigantic. Yeah, that's the thing, Neko, is like, you still end up needing base 27 to justify how the numbers add up and make it work. So, like, it doesn't actually make it much better, is, like, the thing. Like, I actually don't hate the fact that, like, the 9 written a certain way looks like lowercase q and is misleading. Like, that's fine. The garbage is that you have to, like, make it base 27, and that's, like, the same in both explanations. In the distant horizon, we could see the faint outline of the ship as it sank. It gave a thunderous roar as it finally slipped beneath the waves. Its last cry echoed out across the ocean and then was gone. It's unclear to me how Hongo expected this to yield any beneficial result to him, but that's fine.
Yeah.
It was over. It was finally over. Or was it? Was it really? No, that was wrong. That wasn't it at all. I was sure of it. This wasn't the end. It was only the beginning. This was a prologue. What would happen in 9 years? Now I have to start the second nonary game, or else I create a time paradox. Yes, finally, air! The sun is so bright, I can barely see at all. I gotta admit, this doesn't look quite like... Wait.
No way.
You gotta be kidding me.
It can't be.
This is...
Well, I guess we weren't in any danger of drowning
in the Nevada desert
at any point. Huh. I mean, it'd take kind of a lot to get that ship to sink.
the mock experiment building.
My God. This whole time we were in building Q.
Sure enough, that's a desert out there with mountains all around it. Hello there, son. Boy, am I ever glad to see you. I don't think I've ever been so happy to see a sunrise. Huh? I just hear something fall? Right, our bracelets. Guess I've never really got a good look at the underside of one of these. That's true, Demolition. I wanted to see if other people in chat were going to react to it, but you did call earlier that we had wasted so much time not drowning that there couldn't possibly be any water. Let's see what's inside of you. A little electronic chip like an ATM card. That's it. There's nothing else. Nothing even looks like a detonator. There was never a detonator to begin with? Figures.
Jumpy.
Heh. Guess I must be pretty crazy about the girl. I think I'm hearing her voice in the wind. There's still a little bit left to go. Can I... Skippable? I think I have to play this out. I'm gonna toggle over to this until the game comes back around, which it will. Don't worry about it. So, that is the majority of 999. Now, I went into this game stating, it's not a perfect game. I like the story a lot. I think it functions well as, like, the most self-contained and complete story in the series. It has some benefits of being, like, the shortest, and I think it sort of, because it creates all the circumstances around the nonary games, it has, like, the most control over its lore and doesn't have to, like, sort out stuff from other games, which will come in a bit later, to be honest. Echo says, I was expecting to see Ace die in an Inferno. Angel says, what Santa did with the gun before was all a ploy? In a sense. So, Santa and June worked together the entire time just to create the circumstances in which Junpei could transmit the solution to that puzzle at the end. This is short for the series? Oh goodness, yes, Angelic Dirt. I mean, this is only 8 YouTube parts. Granted, it's closer to 9, which maybe I should have just done that, huh? But I just wanted to finish it. And also, I always underestimate how much raw investment of time is required to finish the bulky backstory segments of this game, for sure. Is ETD super long? No, Zero Time Dilemma is, like, in the middle. Like, this one's the shortest, Virtue's Last Reward's the longest, and Zero Time Dilemma's in the middle. It's probably closer to VLR length, but I don't quite recall.
Oh, come on. This is nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't look okay.
It was just before the end of elementary school. Jumpy and I were sitting next to each other on a small hill looking down at the town as the sun slowly set.
How does it look then?
He was half serious and half joking. I thought about it for a minute first.
Well, let's see.
It's not great, is it?
It looks like you kissed a toad and got warts, but then they just kept growing and growing and growing.
What does that even mean?
Junpei grinned and...
See? I told you you're not okay. You're too reckless. You can't beat 5 8th graders, Jumpy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I couldn't just stand there. I mean, don't you think so? I had to do something.
Junpei vision. Look at the Nevada desert go past. For an SUV, this thing is a pretty smooth ride. Sure was nice of someone to leave it for us outside the building, keys in the ignition and gas in the tank. Almost like it was a present, you know? Anyway, we jumped in and now here we are, screaming across the desert! Otis is over there in the passenger seat. Snake and Seven and I are all squeezed in the back seat. Still can't believe we let her drive.
This is so fun!
This maybe wasn't our best idea.
This is so awesome! Driving is so great when there's nothing around. And there's no speed limit.
Hey, Clover, watch those bumps, all right? This car jumps even a little, and I think I'm gonna get crushed to death.
Hey, shut it. I can't help if I'm big, all right? Suck it up.
Why don't you drive, Seven?
I'm a cop. I ain't gonna break the law.
He doesn't have an international license.
Is that even a thing?
Yeah, but you could have sat in the passenger seat.
Oh, hell no. There's no way I'm giving this seat up.
That tracks.
And Clover, there's no need to slow down. The car Santa and June are in should be somewhere down this road ahead of us.
Clover reverse blinking? It's creepy. Why is she doing that? Like, she's got her eyes closed, but she has to open them for a second, like she's blinking. But that's not how blinking works.
Yeah, I saw some fresh tire tracks going out. There's no doubt about it.
Then we've got to hurry if we want to catch them, don't we?
Sure thing.
Oh no! She doesn't have to drive so fast. I didn't even think a car like this could go this fast. They are throwing up a lot of dust. It's just like the Pigpen hoedown. Never gonna address Lotus's wardrobe. Can I ask you to clarify what questions you have, Angel? I feel like her outfit speaks for itself, does it not? It was a couple hours after we'd run into the junior high students. They'd been hiding in the bushes on the back of one of the hills, drenching a kitten in gasoline. Wow, that's so cool. Kids are great. The moment we saw what they were doing, Jumpy ran up to them furious.
What the hell are you doing?
Then he jumped on them. He quickly scooped up the kitten and tossed it to me. I caught it and ran for the police station as fast as I could.
Help me! Officer, please! You
Policeman and I headed back to the hill. All we found was Jumpy sprawled on the ground with his face covered in big, swelling lumps.
Run away after you threw the kitty to me?
He stuck his tongue out through the hole in his mouth where a tooth had fallen out. Awesome.
Yeah, I guess I could've...
Then why didn't you?
I didn't want to. I wanted to beat him up. Beat him up real good.
Because of what they were doing to the kitty.
Nah, I just have violent, unchecked
Yeah,
tendencies.
that too, but... I think they were the ones behind those murders our first semester. Remember?
I find Akane's little, like dress shirt and tie and sweater combination very endearing and unusual. The guy says, huh? Santa and June went ahead? Did they leave the incinerator? Yeah, like Santa took Ace and left out the door they had all entered and locked everyone in there to start the incinerator sequence. So, like, they took the other exit that it's implied that existed before so that Ace could leave 9 years ago.
Oh, you mean the bunnies.
Yeah, the bunnies.
Plucked some grass from the ground
They
and
asked
tossed
me
it
what
into the
elementary
wind.
school I was from, so I told them. And then they said they'd do the same thing to you that they did to the rabbits.
Well, I mean, that makes it pretty clear that they did it. He was like, I suspect them of the rabbits, but they kind of confessed, didn't they?
I couldn't forgive them for that, so I... Hey, there's still some stuff I don't get.
Of course, they probably don't know any more than I do.
Well, I guess I should say Guitaro Hongo. Why did he create the Nonary project? Anybody? Any ideas?
Why don't you ask him yourself?
Oh, that's an interesting notion. Guess I
He's
could.
still in the trunk, I assume?
Yeah, he is. Still tied up, I'm assuming, with his mouth taped shut. His eyes just look empty, no emotion. Looks like he's just given up. I wonder if he even cares what happens anymore.
Hey, were you listening to us?
Yeah, go ahead and try to pretend you weren't, you jerk. Let's get that tape off your mouth.
Come on, I know you were. Answer me.
You could at least look at me when you talk, man.
I only wanted to see the faces. Human faces.
I feel like this sound effect could have been mixed a little better.
I thought if I could gain the ability to access the Morphic Field Center, then perhaps I could see faces.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Demolition. I mean, like, I really like Ace as a villain. I mean, he's not ultimately Zero, clearly, at this point. But, like, he's definitely, like, the villain of the game. But I like that his motivation is, like, something kind of tragic and relatable. But the fact that he's a villain on top of it makes it sort of complicated. And it's like, no, I mean, he's, like, obviously a bad guy who deserves punishment. But, like, I get what started it. It makes him, like, an interesting, somewhat rounded character. I mean, like, it doesn't justify what he did at all, but it's more interesting than him just being like, I wanted to burn the children because I'm a witch.
Peering into people's minds, you could understand how they were processing the expressions of others.
So the stupid thing that Snake was alluding to earlier, which is like, imagine someone who could, like, read the morphogenetic field, and imagine someone doing a handstand, like, the purpose of the Nonary game was so that he could interpret humans through the morphogenetic field and other people's experiences, and as a result, like, distinguish between people in a way he could not do otherwise.
That's it?
Yes. If you want to put it simply, and if you are looking for a more philosophical answer, I can supply that as well.
Is it because you wanted to burn the kids because you're a witch?
You see, the human collective consciousness...
No, we don't want this trip to take longer. We know that Uchikoshi time dilation will kick in if you start talking about science. Time for the tape to go back on.
So what's your second question?
You said there were some things you didn't get, didn't you?
Oh, somebody's a little
Doesn't
nosy.
really have anything to do with it. This is for you, Seven. It's about the whole Alice thing.
Good gracious, this car is loud.
What's the deal with that?
Well, see, 9 years ago, after I escaped from the Gigantic, I kept going after Hongo on my own. Catch up when I finally slipped up. During the course of my investigations, I learned a lot more about the Gigantic. I also found out about Bourdain and Alice.
You're not really answering my question. Was there actually a girl who wouldn't melt at room temperature?
Sounds like Hongo has something to say. Alright, fine, I'll let you talk, but you gotta behave.
What?
Alice doesn't exist. 9 years ago, I found Alice's coffin behind the library on the bottom deck. There was nothing in it but the root of a peculiar plant. My research determined that it was a member of the genus Madrigal, of the family Solanaceae. I was able to extract a particular alkaloid from it. I used that extract to create Soper. Its creation was a tremendous boon to my firm, and we grew rapidly.
And then had the resources to make the nonary game, etc., etc. It's gonna go on forever. Tape's going back on, Hongo. The rest of my questions can wait a bit. For now, I think I'll just enjoy the ride.
Here, this is for you.
What's this?
This is a for you doll. His name is Junpei.
He pulled something out of his pocket and shoved his arm out toward me. In his hand was a doll made of yarn, small enough to fit in his palm.
Are you sure it's, for you, doll?
Huh? Yeah, the lady at the shop said so, so that means it's for you, right?
Are you sure it's not a voodoo doll?
Whoops. Nico says Ace might try to do a handstand while tied up in a car driving at maximum speed, and that's how he'll die. It could happen. Listen, there are gonna be much dumber ways for people to die in Uchikoshi games.
Wait, what? That's... Oh.
Well, it sure looks like a voodoo doll. I mean, you do know what a voodoo doll is used for, right?
Wholesome stuff?
Yeah, I guess calling it Junpei isn't a very good idea then.
Why are you giving me this anyway? It just seems really sudden.
Well, you know how after June, we aren't gonna get to see each other too much? I mean, we're gonna be in different schools, and I just thought I'd,
give you a doll with my likeness that's cursed to inflict harm on me? Just like normal crush stuff.
Oh, okay, well, how about we call it June then?
Okay. So, I wanted to give you this.
You sound like some sort of tribal chief in a bad movie.
Yes. I, head of tribe. This doll, traditional charm of tribe. So I give this, it me, so we always together.
Very well spoken.
Oh, Jumpy.
If something bad, then hold and pray.
Oh, and then she prayed because she was gonna burn to death.
I go wherever you are. So here, take.
Reached my hand out and picked up the doll gently.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jumpy.
Before I knew it, I was crying. Tears streamed down my face and fell onto June's tiny yarn body.
Jumpy, I'll never forget you, I promise.
Just remember she said that, huh? Jumpy looked straight into my eyes and said just 5 words.
I'll never forget you either.
The sky was a beautiful crimson red as it melted down towards the horizon. Last golden rays of sunlight stretched out across the city and painted themselves across the hills. We sat bathed in warm light in the evening, just the two of us leaning gently against one another, shoulder to shoulder. Sun set and we still didn't leave. We watched in silence as the darkness deepened and one by one the lights of the town began to flicker on. There's still one thing I don't get, even though I said I'd save my questions for later. To be honest, it's the biggest mystery as far as I'm concerned, and the only one that's really important. It has to do with June and Akane. 10 years ago, she died in the incinerator on the Gigantic. But she's still alive now, as June. But how? Was it because I tapped into the morphic field set and saved her 9 years ago? Alright, let's say that makes some kind of insane sense. If I did that, then how do I make sense of what Seven remembers? Snake makes sense, he's blind. He couldn't have seen her body anyway. But Seven, he said he was sure he saw it. Does that mean there's some kind of historical discrepancy? Or wait, maybe that's not it at all. There's one other logical explanation. Was what you told me the truth, Seven? You look satisfied. No way. Couldn't.
Look! Over there! There's somebody next to the road.
Huh?
What? Hmm?
You'll either love or hate this. I don't know. You will probably have feelings about this. Burning gaze of the Nevada sun pounded down on her head. The desert around her rippled with heat. Standing there on that shimmering plain was a woman, her arm out and thumb up. It would not be long before Junpei realized who she was. And that's right, the last image of the game is all ice. Get wrecked. Are we back to the main menu? I think that's what we're doing. Would you like to save the yeah, sure. We'll do that. I'll probably need that for something in the future. Cool. Let's go over here. It's me, Big Vasco. Hi, several hours have passed. This is fine. That took a little longer than I expected, to be honest. Not a surprise, huh? Question, how does she know how to hitchhike? I mean, that's a fair question, but, like, in the scheme of the questions that this game generates, like, is that the one? Shouldn't she be in the ocean? She's supposed to be in, like, a coffin under the navel of the Forest of Knowledge. We opened the coffin she was supposed to be in, and then Ace said that, like, there was just, like, a magical plant in there that he used to make Soperol, the magic drug that definitely matters for the course of these games. She wasn't in the library. She's supposed to be, like, below the library, which means that she's supposed to be in the room with the coffin. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, I can't really try to defend or argue that. Now the game's completely unbelievable. I like to imagine, like, I know you're probably, like, teasing to some degree. I do like to imagine that you were, like, completely on board with everything. You're like, yeah, sure, like, time travel and morphogenetic field and the last door is Q, and then you're like, why you hitchhiking? 0 out of 10. Would not play again. Uchikoshi games have very long resolutions. Yeah, like, the ending of Virtue's Last Reward is so long, and it has that just, like, absolutely bonkers visual aid that's one of the worst things a person's ever spent time creating. He says, I hate birds in non-character action games. You spent the last hour fighting a bird in an incredibly dumb AI. I mean, I have no context for that, but I'm sorry for your bird loss. 0 or Terror for most understandable villain. I mean, I feel like Terror's somewhat more justified. Not to say that he's justified, but, like, I don't want to go, like, too crazy deep into spoilers for anyone who would watch this and hasn't played through the other game. I know we've talked about some stuff, but I don't think any of it's been concrete enough to, like, really spoil that game. Especially without context. But, like, I feel like like, Terror's origin story justifies, like, a greater level of depravity in his response. Like, I'm sympathetic to Ace and his plight, but he goes, like, super hard. He, like, dials it to 11 for, like, a problem that's, like, maybe a 5. And, like, it's a lot. He's, like, kidnapping children and trying to burn them to death and stuff. I mean, I like the 0 story. I feel like there's definitely just, like a hint of that Uchikoshi flavor of just, like, overdoing it in the end of 999, which is, this is gonna sound insane to say if you, like, know Virtue's Last Reward already, but, like, I somehow feel that despite the bloatedness of the end of Virtue's Last Reward, and I will say up front right now that the ending of Virtue's Last Reward is just, like, kind of problematic. And I'll leave it as ambiguous as that, because that can mean a lot of things, and it does mean a few things. But, like, there's just something about that ending that's more satisfying to me than, like, some of the hoops you have to jump through to, like... What, like, again, I really have no understanding of why it's necessary to have, like, June's bracelet be 9 and Santa's be 0. Like, it just adds nothing. It's just like the Nirvana thing that's terrible and I hate. There's some complicatedness to the... I mean, here's the thing that bugs me about it, right? Like, taken at face value, you know, we're talking about some, like, fringe sci-fi stuff. It's an Uchikoshi game. So, like, it doesn't bother me at all that, like, Akane has supernatural abilities that are brought out in, like, a moment of extreme danger. Like, the game spends almost too much time setting up that that's a thing that can happen. But what, like, bothers me is, like, they go out of their way to be like, oh, she's a transmitter. They don't have to say it, but they do. They're like, she's a transmitter, which means that she should be the one transmitting answers to someone else. But the whole purpose of this game is for her to be a receiver and to get information from Junpei through the field. Now, this wouldn't bother me so much, except that they go super far out of their way, again, to be like, there's two types of people able to access the morphogenetic field, which are, like, people who send and people who receive. There's no discussion of someone being able to do both, even under, like, incredibly dire circumstances. But for some reason, they say that she is a transmitter, and, like, the whole plot is her being a receiver. So it's, like, that's always bothered me. And, like, you know, Devilish was joking before, but, like, to me, that's always been one of the things that held this game back from being, like, my personal favorite in the series. Now, again, all of the games in this series have their flaws. Generally, I say that, you know, 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors, and Virtue's Last Reward both have more good than bad, but, like, I understand that people will feel differently and rate them differently and whatever. I'm not going to try and persuade you all to think that they're the best games ever, because I'm not sure that they are, but they're games that I like quite a lot, and I've really wanted to share them, and I want to continue playing through this because it's super important to me to get to Zero Time Dilemma, not because I ever want to play it again, and not because I want to buy it for a third time, which maybe we could talk about someday, but just because I want someone else to understand what I've gone through. This is my Joker origin story. I am Gentaro Hongo. I can't see human faces, and I want you to know my suffering. That is the shorthand I feel like I can use to explain why I really want to play Zero Time Dilemma. Not because I want to play Zero Time Dilemma, but because I want you to understand the heights and the depths. It's very much like one of my favorite YouTube series. I'm not even sure that's technically an accurate description, but the Spoony one is someone who, like, used to do video reviews of games, and he did an entire retrospective of the Ultima game series, just so that he could get to the last installment of the series and just explain how much it offends him, which is exactly how I feel about this series. Which is my favorite, Virtue's Last Reward, and it's not close. There's, like, a bunch of reasons. They're all pretty highly subjective, but for me, Virtue's Last Reward is definitely the best one. You realize there's TV tropes and we can get angry at that instead. Sure, but then I need to try and somehow enforce that everyone does it. If I play it on stream, from that point on, I can assume that if you had interest in knowing it, then you've seen it, and then I can talk indiscriminately about how bad it is and reference it, and at least some percentage of people will understand it. That's the difference that it makes. Yeah, I miss Spoony too. Didn't he, like, delete his whole website? But, like, luckily someone, like, mirrored a bunch of it. I remember, like, going back through his stuff a couple years ago when I found that out, and it was, like, super sad, but at least someone had managed to save, like, a lot of it. A lot of the stuff that I remembered most fondly. But yeah, I love the Ultima series. I've watched that set of reviews multiple times, and I've recently been thinking I should go back to it. I love how much he hates that game, because, like, there aren't a lot of people in the world who know the depths of my hatred for things, and it's very much how I feel about Zero Time Dilemma, for so many reasons. But it's like midnight here. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let's do this Squirtle thing real quick. There's a squirrel behind me. Some people made guesses. I'm gonna ignore them because I'm not scrolling up. You give me those guesses again, we're gonna find that squirrel together, you and I. I think technically now this is the longest stream I've done continuously. I think we crossed the threshold on my last record holder. So that's fun. It's appropriate. This weekend is gonna be a real trial for me. And then like next week is gonna suck. Like next week is gonna be so bad for Vasco. Any other guesses? I seen Echo's guess. It's fine if you don't have them, but I'm not gonna wait too terribly long for guesses. At some point soon, I want to discuss whether people feel like this should be in the YouTube VOD. I don't know that it matters much to anyone, but maybe it's like I wrap up the YouTube video and then we do this live and then the videos are shorter. Lap. Hey, I'm gonna give you a freebie, Demolition. It's not on my lap. You want to guess again? It's your option. You don't have to. I think I did that once just to get you. Just because you had guessed it for like 5 consecutive weeks, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Did it. One more hour and I would have reached 9 a.m. You know, I'm legitimately thinking about splitting this VOD into 2 parts for YouTube, just so that the series is 9 parts. Because like originally I was like, oh darn, like it's gonna be an 8-episode playlist, and then this was like super long, and I'm like, maybe I just figure out where to split it. 1 hour of super auto pets. Alright, well, Neko appears to be the only person guessing. That's fair. Let's go see how it do. Oh, jeez. My squeedly spooch. Now, Neko has the one and only guess. Behind Baymax. Fun fact, I put Baymax on the couch. By the way, it's, we got Anime Eeyore, which is not Squirtle. But I put Baymax on the couch for Halloween because Tech got a Baymax costume because his daughter really likes Baymax, which I think is great. I think that's perfect. And he showed a picture of it, and it doesn't fit at all. It's meant for like a very tall person. And I just thought that was very funny. And so when I was thinking of like Halloween stuff to do, I just thought of that. What was your... Oh, I thought you said Squirtle under or behind Baymax. Sure, we can take a look under Squirtle. So over here we got our visible Squirtle. Obviously, he himself is not secret because he's in plain sight. That's not how secrets work. Technically, there was an under and a behind, so I'll give you both. Under him was our friend the Donut Cat, and behind him was little pirate friend, Tiny Vasco. But it turns out that the location of our secret Squirtle is here behind Big Brown Bear and under Holland. That's the one. That's the place. So, yeah, it's been like a super long stream. Thanks to everybody for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. Tomorrow, we're going to do some, Beacon Pines, which is a name that's really hard for me to remember for no reason. And, God, I hope that's not another 5-hour stream. It could be. I might just cut that one off and finish that another week. We'll see how that plays out. I do want to try and finish all of Little Misfortune on Sunday. That's the goal. There's going to be a lot going on Sunday. I do encourage you to watch it. 3 p.m. Pacific, if you're watching live. I'm going to try and make sure to make special announcement on Discord and on Twitter. But that's gonna end the stream because it's super long. I hope you enjoyed it. I like this game a lot. It's kind of stupid. But yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the things I like are kind of stupid, so it makes sense that this game's a little stupid, but like also you have already witnessed me enjoy Tokiko, and like Tokiko is like very Zero Escape. I have nothing left to say. The stream is over.